Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Workouts for Older Men Live. I am 𝗪𝗍𝗂𝗂𝗃. So glad you are joining me here this morning. Wendy, come on, say hello. Tell me where you're watching me from. Tell me how old you are, too. I want to know who is being sent my way. Let me know if you're new. I come to you every morning about this time, 7 days a week. Start your day off thinking fitness. If you want to take your workouts, your level of health and fitness, your eating habits to the next level, I want to help you do that by connecting with you every single day. I want to answer any questions that you might have, direct you to resources, talk about the latest fitness trends in the news, however I can help you focus more on fitness. Maybe you can just learn from some of the questions that are asked by men who are just like you. So if you're a little bit older, you've got a busy, productive life, and you are confused by all the fitness strategies out there, don't think your body is moving, you aren't able to eat food the way you used to, or whatever it might be, having a challenge, I want to help you. My name is 𝗪𝗍𝗂𝗂𝗃. I am 61 years old. I'll be 62 years old here in next month. I've been doing this for just about 35 years. First 15 years, I was the most focused, dedicated bodybuilder. All those workout strategies, all the different training splits, all the different variations of all the different exercises, right? I did all those in my pursuit to be a 6-time national champion drug-free bodybuilder. All the eating strategies, low carb diet, high protein diet, eating 6 meals a day, eating 8 meals a day, pre-workout nutrition, fasted cardio, separating my cardio, 12 hours from my weight training session to maximize muscle gain. I've done it all. I've done it all at a high level. I've learned from the very best, right? And what I bring that's unique is, number one, how many guys are 62 years old who are doing this with 35 years experience. And I know there's a lot of older guys that kind of got into it in the last couple of years, but most of the well-intended, massively well-intended men and women who are feeding you this information, who's sharing their experiences, they're much younger than you. They've got a lot less time doing this. I can tell you this, most of the information that you hear, it's interesting. It goes viral, it gets a lot of likes. Like I said, it's interesting. But most of the information that's presented on the internet is not the things that you need to know. What I call the basic organizing principles that everything is built upon. I'm sure what you do at your job, you're great at what you do. Probably by this time you've been doing it for 25 years. All right, just the experience of doing it, and then people come to you, you're an expert at what they do. Even very smart people, there's a certain level of understanding that they don't get with just a few years doing it. No matter how smart they are, no matter how hard they work, it's tough to differentiate what's important, what's not, those organizing principles. And every live broadcast, every video I present to you. So make sure you follow. Thank you so much for the follows. Thank you so much for the likes too. I really appreciate the follows. I really appreciate the likes. But every hour that you spend here, every minute that you spend here, all right, I want to help you differentiate what's important and what's not. You come here and you hear workouts for older men. Yeah, that's what I need. I'm about 40 pounds overweight. Haven't been to the gym. I need to take it to the next level, whatever it is for you. Everybody has a different point A, where they're starting from right now, to a different point B, what goal they want. They all have different goals of what we want to get out of this fitness and what it means to us. All right, so there's always different point A to point B. All right, helping you sort through all that is what I want to do with all these questions to answer. Again, if you've been here, if you have 10 seconds to spend here or 10 minutes, I want to make sure you follow, and then start watching my videos here on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook. I'm doing it, this show live on all those platforms right now. So when you come on, say hello, tell me where you're watching me from, just hang out. All right, maybe, again, a question that you have, didn't even know you had, someone else will ask it. Maybe a couple days from now, you'll know what to ask and jump right in. All right, so if you're new, let me know that. Tell me where you're watching me from, right? Tell me how old you are. I want to know that. 𝗪𝗍𝗂𝗂𝗃, thank you for the follow over on TikTok. Trent, thank you for the follow. River Rat, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much for the likes. You know, you just being here for 10 seconds, being here for 10 minutes. All right. TikTok's going to find more men just like you to bring over. So Martin, hello, 51 years old from Texas. Martin, is this the first time you've jumped on my live broadcast here on TikTok? Let me know that. All right. Thank you for being here. God of Thunder. It's a push day today. And new from Colorado, 47 years old. Thank you so much for being here. What do you consider older men? Great question. Great question. So, you know, I think that you've seen, if you've been in this fitness world, they'll say over 35, over 40, over 50. I'm not sure if I've seen too much information targeted at men over 60, right? So it's clear and succinct. But really, working out is really an individual thing, right? If you feel young, right, then you just do what the 25-year-olds just do that. And if you get great results, that's great. But most men, when they get a little older, they talk about they can't eat the way they used to. They just put on weight, even when they look at a carb. They talk about the recovery. They can't push the weight so much and be able to do it again a couple days like they used to. They talk about a lot of injuries, shoulders problems, hip problems, knee problems that they maybe didn't even get them in the gym, and how do you work around that? All right. And the whole idea, can you build muscle when you're older? So, you know, I can help anyone, man, woman, child, young, old, right? The organizing principles. But, you know, the metaphors and analogies, you know, the stories we mix in, it's all geared to the lifestyles and the habits and the priorities of men who are a little bit older, but not just older, but they have a busy, productive life. All right. So, and you'll see if any of those conditions, if you ever thought, man, I can't do it the way that I used to. Well, we can address that here specifically to you, right? 22-year-old, they'll do things that, here's another thing, is what you aren't willing to do, like bulking up, right? Putting on extra body fat, believing that you got to put on all this extra fat, and then later, you know, like 20 extra pounds, right? That's not even healthy when you're older. Number one, you don't want to put all that excess weight on, even if you think it's going to build muscle. You don't want to do that when you're older, right? We got to worry about our health, our overall heart health, and things like that. And even if it did, you know, I don't know, 6 months later, you go into a cut. And so you want to cut all that, hopefully being the net result is a couple pounds of muscle up. Doesn't work that way, even though it's so common. Again, this is a young man's pursuit, right? But those type of things, even thinking about bulking and then cutting, that's a younger man's approach. You'll see when you stick around and watch these live videos, there's a lot of questions that only younger men ask. Right. So I just differentiate that, cut to what we need based on our values and our priorities. But building muscle, losing body fat, you know, a lot of the organizing principles are the same. How it's communicated, how it's taught, that's what makes it different. Okay. God of Thunder, got to run to the gym. Looking forward to listening. Great. I'm so glad you're here. Hey guys, thank you for the follows. I really appreciate that. Say hello. Tectimus over on YouTube. So glad you're here, sir. Wants to know how to get a six-pack quickly. How to get a quick six-pack quickly. Well, I don't know what quickly means to you. I don't really talk too much about from that aspect of it, right? But I'll just say this: it's not going to be in your exercise. I don't care what ab exercise that you pulled off the internet. It's going to be in your eating habits. So at least I can point you in that direction. Hello, Rodney from Louisville, Kentucky. 61 years old. Rodney, are you new over on YouTube? Are you new? Did I just have to pass by your feed scrolling this morning? Right. Jason says nothing is quick. You know, and if it is quick, It's probably going to be, you're not really even going to get there. You might get part of the way there. You got it quickly. And then it's going to be tough to sustain. Rowdy from Iowa, so glad you're here. Hey, thank you so much for the likes. Every time you guys like this feed, every time you follow, every minute you stay here, it just shows, has TikTok go out and find more men like you. So I really appreciate you being here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Thank you for the follow. Art, are you new here? Buffy, I'm getting too old to max deadlifts nowadays. The bottom part of my back hurts the day after. Yeah, you know, deadlifts, they probably hurt younger men done incorrectly. Definitely isn't the safest exercise. Many men love it. If you love it, you can do it safely. It's a great exercise. You know, I don't really do deadlifts with a regular bar in front of me, but I do love hex bar, where I step inside the hex bar and do deadlifts that way. I'll only do deadlifts like once during my workout for 8 to 10 weeks, and maybe do that one out of every 3. So doing deadlifts 10 weeks out of 30, right? So a lot of ways to get healthy and fit. I'm sure you love the challenge of deadlifts, but you know, it doesn't matter what age, it's risk versus reward. All the compound movements, barbells and dumbbells, great when you know how to use them correctly. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to stimulating muscle growth. There are a lot of machines that can help you develop an amazing physique. Build that muscle that you need. All right. Work on the diet, getting lean with your diet. But a lot of ways to work around exercises that are more risky for you. So we want to be smart about this. Diet, I don't know what that means. Tim, good morning, coach. Week number 2 of 2,500 calories. I've gained 3 pounds, getting stronger. Okay, so don't worry about the weight. If you were to, when I take men on a 12-week coaching session, you know, one thing I do is have them understand how this weight works and how it doesn't work, right? How much weight is not fat, how much weight is not muscle, how it varies, right? Because you don't want to look at the scale. It's not a good indicator of if you're doing it right or wrong, especially in the short run, all the fluctuation, right? So someone could be doing exactly what they need to for a diet, and then it feels wrong. Then maybe they gain what they think is 3 pounds, and it's gaining fat. Maybe when they started on started watching their training, they started watching their diet, they wanted to lose weight. So if they go up in weight, they're not sure what that is. That may cause so much uncertainty that they change their diet and they cut it ridiculously low, because that seems like it makes more sense. Well, thank you so much. 1,000 likes. Thanks for doing that, Rowdy. Thanks for leading the charge too. I appreciate that. Got to start asking. You know, I realize that there's a lot to this. I've been doing it every single day for about, I don't know, the last 6 weeks here on TikTok. So Facebook, YouTube, make sure you're on my TikTok channel, and then also on TikTok, make sure you're on Facebook. Do a lot of posts that aren't videos there. So, Mattis, what is a reverse diet, and exactly when do you do it? Well, reverse diet. I'm trying to think. You know, that's like that's a term in a way that is over in my explanation. Doing this, you know, for doing it for so long. It's when you diet, you get really lean, you lower your calories, but then you got to come back up to some sense of normalcy where you don't just, you know, you gradually go back up, just like you gradually went down. It's, you know, if you're really into this, right, like a fitness competitor, who talk about it most. Right? That's not something, it's not a strategy that just a man with a busy, productive life does. All right. How I suggest you do it is you find that amount of calories that you need. It could be at a deficit, but you're eating as much food as possible, right? You know what that number is. You're consistent with it. And then really you can eat the way, like just say you wanted to lose 40 pounds. Right? You can eat the same way, the same calories, same foods. Really, if it takes you just say 8, 9 months to lose that 40 pounds gradually. There is a way to do this where you don't have to do this cut and measure it out and then reverse it back upwards. You just do that if you know what you're doing. But it's basically, cutting calories, going to more and more of a deficit as your body adapts. And then after you get where you want, or maybe, and again, a lot of people who reverse diet are people who do competition and shows where on a particular day, they have to be incredibly lean. And then right afterwards, they start gradually bringing the calories up, not go crazy all in one day. So that's basically what that is. I'm okay with it. This is school every day. Well, I appreciate you being here. Hey, thank you so much for the likes, guys. Thank you so much for the follows. If you're here for 10 seconds or 10 minutes, I come to you every single morning about this time. Make sure that you follow so you'll be alerted every time I go live. And every time I post a new video, right? All right, guys. I want to make sure I get all your questions here. Art is 53 and going strong. Thank you for the follows, guys. Right, I can tell by questions we're getting the more hardcore guys who have been doing this a while, which is great. But if you're new to this, you have 100 pounds of body fat to lose, 50 pounds of body fat to lose. Maybe you've already lost 50 pounds. You got serious, 6 months, a year ago, you lost 50 pounds. But now everything that you did, whatever exercise you did, whatever eating routine, whatever it is that you did, it's not working anymore. What do you do then? Maybe losing body fat, which is really the key. I think that when men want to transform their physiques, you want to work out. You need that muscle. You want to fight to keep that muscle, especially when you're older. But the key to transforming your physique is really going to be getting your body fat levels low enough to be healthy and fit, to look good, but also to display all the muscle that you hope to show that you're working hard with the weight training. All right. Thank you so much for the follow, Robert. All right. So I come here every single morning about this time. You're actually always the first person I talk to every morning before I start my official work day. All right. I have a free gift for you. Right? If you are confused by all the information on the internet, I want to help bring it back. I talk about these organizing principles that aren't talked about enough. A lot of times what the fitness influence, they assume that you've been with them for 6 months or a year. I tend to do that too. Time flies by and I'll say, well, I just talked about this, right? But you may be coming in for the first time and you need to know the basics, right? And a lot of times those are skipped over. All right. So I created this 1 hour, this 1 hour and 5-minute audio presentation. I call it the top 20 things older men must know about building muscle, losing body fat, and getting healthy and fit. All right. So it's these basic organizing principles. I use 20 because people I would talk about, just like everything, there's the 80-20 rule, right? You hear 100 things on the internet, right? All these different tips and strategies when it comes to fitness and eating. Only 20 of them are important out of the 100. And those 20 will give you 80% or more of the productivity that you need to build that muscle and lose that body fat. But, what are the 20 and what are the 80 that are interesting? They might be evidence-based, but they're either really, really next level strategies. And if you don't know the basic organizing principles or why are you doing it, like for example, like how many reps to do? You may have a rep scheme. You do, 3 sets of 10, but why are you doing that? I'm not saying that doing those 3 sets of 10 is not going to have any impact, right? You lift the weights, you show up, you do it consistently, back that up with some eating habits. Of course, you're going to get some benefit, but why 3 sets of 10? Besides, that's what you're told, right? When you kind of understand why you're doing the things, you can build upon that. Less confusion, frustration, overwhelm. And I'll tell you, a lot of men talk about motivation, right? To just get to the gym. I mean, when you're more certain that your hard work will pay off, it's easier to get motivated. I always say that most men will do the work if they're more certain that their work is going to pay off. I want to give you that sense of certainty. So go to workoutsforoldermen.com. All right. And, I want you to get that free audio presentation. Like I said, it's absolutely free. Just want you to fill out a questionnaire at workoutsforoldermen.com, and I'll give it to you absolutely free. I've given out hundreds of these audio presentations over the last few months. All right. Again, the top 20 things older men must know about building muscle, losing body fat, and getting healthy and fit. So if you're confused by this information here, this will be the basic thing. I mean, you can listen to this over and over and over again and get more and more clear on. And so then when you come in, whether you're watching my lives or anyone else's, it'll put everything into context. So Tim says, since I started your workouts, I can honestly feel my body changing. Awesome. Thank you so much for the follows, guys. Thank you so much for being here. So again, go to workoutsforoldermen.com. So go to workoutsforoldermen.com, fill out that questionnaire, and get your free audio recording. The top 20 things older men must know about building muscle, losing body fat, and getting healthy and fit. All right, so check that out. And when I do these live broadcasts, I usually do in the morning, start my day on how time feels. So how many of you, this is not the first time that you've watched one of my live broadcasts? This is not the first time. And again, thank you so much for the follows. Thank you so much for the likes. If you've been watching me and you can benefit from this information, you got some specific questions for me, got to wait. And I do this in the morning. Usually have a few men who will do this first thing in the morning. And I can set up some time to even talk to you as early as today, as my schedule permits. How you do this is first you text me at the number 925-352-436. Just introduce yourself. 925-352-436. Just introduce yourself. All right, that's number one. Then you can send me a picture. Whatever you feel comfortable with is fine. You can do one that's already in your camera roll. All right, so text me a picture. Picture tells me 1,000 words. I can tell where you are in this process. All right, and then you're going to go to talkwithskip.com. All right, that's going to bounce you over to my skiplicore.com website, talkwithskip.com. You're going to fill out that questionnaire. So now you've really gotten clear on how it is I can help you, what you need most by answering those questions. I've got a picture of you, got your phone number. Then I'll text you, I'll call you, and then we'll set up some time to talk. Be more than happy to spend 10 or 15 minutes with you, getting you clear on what your biggest challenge is, what's in front of you, and line you out on some steps. There's nothing that's more effective if you're trying to learn this stuff than one-on-one coaching. You can watch all these videos, but leave that up to your interpretation of what it means. A lot of times you may not getting the full meaning, right? A lot of smart men have trouble putting this together. I mean, sure, you can go to the gym consistently, you can grind it out, and watch what you eat, portion control. You can do some basic things, and you're going to improve. But after a while, you're going to have to know what you're doing, right? So if you have specific questions, you can't lose that body fat. You're unsure of the right diet for you. You just don't know the right training program, but you've been putting in the work. You just think you just need a little bit of clarity, right? Reach out to me. Again, text me, send me a picture. I fill out that questionnaire. I'll know what your goals are, what you've done in the past, your height and weight, your age, work out in a commercial gym. I'll know a lot about you. So when we spend our time together on the phone, maybe as early as later on today, I will have everything I need to be really effective and efficient with not only your time but my time too. All right, I get a lot of men. They're tired of bouncing around and watching all these videos. They just want to just build some muscle and some body. I just tell them exactly what they need to do. They're the type of men, when they know what they want, they get what they want. They do whatever it takes to get what they want. So if that sounds like you, I want to make myself available, whether this is the first time you've watched me here on TikTok or on YouTube or Facebook, or you've been watching me for a while. Good morning, Bill. Great to have you here, sir. Thank you guys so much for the likes. Thank you, Bill, for the gifts. Really appreciate that. And again, thank you so much for the follows. If there's anything that you can do, if I'm just showing up in your screen, and again, my name is 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗃. I'll be 62 years old next month. I've been doing this for 35 years. I built my first internet bodybuilding website, sharing my passion and my information back in 1994. I wrote my first book on goal setting and planning and organizing your fitness, your bodybuilding back in 1994 also. I sold my first VHS tape around the world back in 1998. You can do a Google search. You can see everything I've done over the last 35 years. That's on the internet. Get a little bit of understanding of who I am. I'm a former 6-time national champion drug-free bodybuilder. Let me show you some pictures again. This was 20 years ago when I stopped competing. All right, there's another. Here's one of the covers that I was on. Wrote hundreds of articles for the muscle magazines back in the day when those were a thing. All right, so that's a little bit about me. I stopped competing 20 years ago, and what all of that dedication, what that did for me was help me understand what's important and what's not, to differentiate. You do a lot of things in excess when you're a bodybuilder, because man, if we can give you 1% difference in your physique, you're willing to do that. And even if it costs you an hour a day, right? That's the mentality of a lot of fitness experts. You don't need that. And I want to strip that all the excess from you, so you can just get to work, build muscle, lose body fat. You don't have to necessarily have a hobby. Some coaches say meat is better absorbed than whey protein because the body knows meat. Yeah. Whey protein, all meat, chicken, poultry, protein, whatever combination. I mean, see that there's an example, right? First of all, nobody's going to eat all whey protein, right? Probably someone's not going to eat all meat, and I assume you eat red meat, right? So we don't need to talk in extremes. Someone's going to get a balance, get their protein requirements. Again, the men who I help, a little bit older, busy, productive life, they've been doing this a couple of years or less. They just want to be in shape. It's not a game changer, total difference maker. Comparing meat and whey protein when you're going to have a balance anyway, right? So those are the conversations that you have when you've been doing it for years and you're bored and you're done talking about all the basics, right? So they come in there. That's a topic when you've talked about everything else, right? Which is absorbed better by the body. Meat, red meat, or whey protein that you get from your nutrition store, right? That's a worthy topic, but in practical application for a guy who's older, he's got a busy life, just wants to get in shape. I mean, and again, I broke it down how that's really a non-question. It's interesting, right? See, that's what I'm just saying. A lot of conversation is about that, and someone's just trying to get in shape. That doesn't matter, although it's interesting. And so that becomes the focal point, things like that, when they don't know all the basics, right? I have not had any injuries in my career. I've had minor inconveniences. Like I think a lot of men will talk about elbow pain that comes up every once in a while. I've had things like that where I've had to maybe train lighter on certain exercises, but I've had no tears or rotator cuff or anything like that. The closest thing that I had to an injury was when my son was 7 years old and I was trying to get him to run through the base. And I think back, my son is 9, my daughter is 11, and man, we do a lot of sports. And I mean, just talking about the story where you're talking about injury, I'm thinking, man, and he's just 7 years old, right? But he would never run through the base. He would hit the ball and then slow down to get to first base. If you know anything about baseball, man, you just you have to run all the way through the base, right? And so I remember I told him that, like 7-year-old, which I kind of understand more now, but told him that 100 times, run through the base. And so finally I was going to show him. So we had a tee and a net set up. And so I hit the ball, and I don't know, first base was a glove. And so I'm running, there I am, in my approaching 60 or whatever, right? And I'm running like I'm 21 years old. Like I run every single day, sprint, just show them how to hustle and run through the base. And I just remember, I told him, I think I posted this video that I saw where some kids, they posted they were racing their dad who was 55. And I guess the dad used to look like a former athlete. And he's running, and all of a sudden, just out of control. I know that feeling. That's the way that it felt. And man, I was never so scared because, training so much in the gym, I haven't had the injuries, right? And, I mean, I see them on social media and those type of things. So, man, my shoulder, I didn't know what to feel. And my hamstring, because I just just fell, right? And thank God, I didn't do anything. I mean, I didn't even know, but I had a big bruise where I pulled a muscle in my hamstring. And then really, I don't know how long it took before I got full use of my shoulder. But man, that was scary because I've heard, No Can Do says, I've never met an older man that isn't banged up. Well, you have now. Does this count? Does this officially count? So yeah, I've been doing it for 35 years, knock on wood. I don't know if I necessarily consider myself smarter than anyone else. I know I really think about what I do. I'm always weighing out risk versus reward. I don't know if it's genetics, luck, combination of all of it, but don't claim to be necessarily any smarter. I don't really know what other guys do though. My man, been listening to you. I'm losing body fat. Thanks to you. Thanks. You're welcome, Robert. But you did the work. I think that's the first thing I wanted to direct men to. They come to me, they punch in workouts for older men, they find me. The big assumption is that the workout, weight training, certainly cardio, is going to help them dump the body fat if they worked out lighter with more reps or whatever it is. That's going to transform their physique and it's going to help them lose that body fat. So the number one I do is direct you to your eating. Whether a lot of men don't want to accept that, they want to hope that the weight training is going to transform their body. And if you just kind of watch what you eat, you don't really get too deep into the nutrition. I know how it can be intimidating, right? And then you're just active. You just change. You're gonna lose weight. You're gonna look better, right? But after a while, then you're gonna have to know what to do, right? You're gonna have to know what you're doing. Thank you so much for the follows, guys. Wow, it's a lot of likes over on TikTok. All right. So, Ricardo, you asked, it takes that long to get in shape. What's that mean? 35 years? No, I got in shape, I guess, at a good level within 6 months. I mean, it really depends on where you are, but it doesn't take 35 years to get in shape. I mean, if you want to have enough muscularity, I mean, I think that goes without saying. The more time you put into something, all right, guys. How many calories do I eat? Well, see, this thing, my situation isn't exactly your situation, right? So if I tell you that number, what most men will say, well, that's too much for me, or whatever it is. But I eat about 2,800 calories a day to stay lean, get plenty of protein, stay lean, be healthy, fit, have energy. About 2,800 calories. But I'm as lean as I really need to be, right? I'm not trying to be at any type of deficit to get leaner and leaner. My favorite cheat meal, being almost 62 years old and really, understanding how this works, and then having young children, I've really, as a bodybuilder, right? As a competitive bodybuilder, you gotta, eat, certain foods to restrict your food, right? Yeah, it's all about the appearance, looking lean, right? So when they're done with the contents, or maybe as cheat meals is a big part of it. If you're going to do all that sacrifice, you gotta let go. I don't know, once a week at the beginning of your prep or something like that. As long as you look amazing that day of the show, and then afterwards, after all those months or whatever, then they're really into cheap foods, right? I'm not. I eat to be healthy. I eat to be fit. I think when you get older, there's a lot of things that I think we eat. Generally, we eat that are not good for us, right? And it's not about building muscle and losing body fat. So, man, I'm not even. There's a lot of foods that I don't eat, and it's all to just for my general health now, and then my responsibility to be healthy and fit, being an older father. It's my responsibility to my kids. So there's no cheat meal that I don't look at it that way now that I'm older. I don't look like it as a hardcore bodybuilder who did all this extreme sacrifice and then they're going to swing over. So that's me. So if you ask me what's my favorite cheat meal, I don't have a favorite cheat meal. My mind has totally shifted as far as longevity in my kids. And again, so there's things like, you can debate about high glycemic carbohydrates, potatoes, tortillas, rice, brown rice, red rice, all these type of foods, right? But when your body gets older, glucose levels, sugars, high blood pressure, all of these things, your body does not work the same as it used to. And if you got away with those type of things, so much so that when you clean up your diet of all the processed food and all these unnecessary starchy carbohydrates, and I'm not saying the carbohydrates in them themselves are bad food, they'll make you blow up. And I'm not talking about building muscle and losing body fat, but you'll just feel totally amazing. And my wife, I used to be a personal trainer. I'm thinking, if I feel this amazing, just cleaning up my diet, right? So I have energy, optimism, handling life challenges, moods, better sleep. And so you're eating. We all intellectually know that, but how much of an impact do you think it's having? I'm thinking, I don't have to do anything, but it's more important for me to have this clean, efficient diet for mental health, emotional health, right? I'm not talking about building muscle and losing body fat, right? Longevity, right? Why would we ever feed our kids all that junk food, all that processed food? Why would we ever do that? Now, again, you don't want your kids to be, some freaks just eating health food all the time, or, that talk about, their mental health, their mood swings, how they handle things. Well, if you're older, and I know most men, you have never gone to the level of what I'm talking about, right? So you wouldn't know how great you would feel if you really clean up your diet, not for building muscle, losing body fat, and if you know when you're older how you help your body out by not eating all that processed food and those type of things, excess calories, carbohydrates, spiking your insulin, all that type of stuff. Why would you ever let your kids do that? Why would you ever, as a responsible parent, ever, right? Besides, it's socially acceptable that, the food industry has convinced us that that's okay in moderation, right? So, however you want to describe it, I have a lot of lean proteins. I don't go overboard on the protein. A lot of people ask that question, and really, how many options do you have for protein to make it such a focal point of what you're doing, right? At the lowest, they'll talk about 0.08 grams, and then I know, is it lean, is it body weight, whatever, right? 1 gram, 1.5 grams, and then you have per pound, and then you have some that, very few that'll go as high as 2. So there really aren't that many options. And it isn't like one is massive muscle gain and on the other one you get nothing, right? That's a subject, and that, because I guess it's the focal point of diet, which in protein is a focal point of muscle building, that it is made way too complicated, way too complicated. As a matter of fact, when someone is debating over the right amount of protein, and they think that's the total game changer, it tells me what they haven't learned yet about how this all works. All right. But, back when I was a bodybuilder, and, I was sponsored by a supplement company that had high quality whey protein, they have the meal replacements, right? So I got all of this for free, right? It's part of my contract. So I would eat that and regular food, lean protein, right? I would eat up to 500 grams of protein a day when you count the supplement, whey protein, and the meal replacements. So I've done it all, and telling you what's important for you, especially if you hear all this stuff from what I call the younger passionate fitness experts, or 4 guys sitting around doing a protein synthesis summit podcast, right? You may be like to geek out on that stuff, right? You may even think that the more complicated it is, it must be more valuable information. It may help you get into this hobby, this passion you have with fitness, but it doesn't necessarily make you better. I understand the need and to want things to be complicated, but as long as, if you're meeting your goals, go for it, right? If you are meeting your goals and it's just costing you too much time, it doesn't seem like it's no longer sustainable, or you feel you're doing so much work just to get these results, and you wonder, can I get these same results more effectively and efficiently with, not because you're lazy, but less of all this obsession with training, with less obsession with eating, and see how good the results will. The things that I have to share with you with my 35 years of doing this, the 15 years to be a 6-time national champion, I can help sort out what's important and what's not. Right? Go to workouts4oldermen.com. Get that free audio recording, the top 20 things older men must know about building muscle, losing body fat, and getting healthy and fit. All right, go to workouts4oldermen.com. Fill out that questionnaire. Right, and fill out that questionnaire over at workouts4oldermen.com. I'll get that audio recording. I've given out hundreds of those audio recordings away in the last few months. Do I wish I had my children younger? I mean, man, I love my kids massively. Can't go back in time to wish anything, but man, I wish I had more years, on this planet. But also, it really makes me really love, teach, coach, parent with a sense of urgency. I don't, assume that I have all this time. My whole day is geared at, taking, seriously what they do. And, do a lot of life lessons, it's just how I prioritize it with that in mind. So you just deal with what you have. But I think there's a lot of benefits having them when they're older. There's, a lot of challenges come with it, just like with anything you do in life. But, your job in life is to make the best out of whatever situations you have. And I'm doing that because I can't go back in time and have them when I was younger. But I'll tell you, if there's one thing, staying in shape, the food that I eat, it's not just about me. It certainly is about just looking good in the mirror, building muscle. I don't really care about that stuff. It's about longevity. It's about life. I know that coming from the bodybuilding world, a lot of guys are really into the lifting and, and I get it, but usually the working out, the eating right, it really means something more to them than just what they look like in the mirror, whether they've defined that or not. And, if you want to skip ahead to all that, I can help and do that. So thank you so much for the follows, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. Come to you for about an hour or so every morning about this time. Start about 4 a.m. Pacific time. Just, fielding any questions. Give me the opportunity. Right? If there's one thing that you can get out of this, I give you the opportunity to reach out, text me, tell me that you watched the show today or whenever you feel comfortable doing it. Text me, send me a picture, and then go to talkwithskip.com, fill out that questionnaire. I'll be more than happy to schedule a time to talk to you like later on today as my time permits or whenever it's best for both of us. And I'll spend 10 or 15 minutes with you. There's nothing like one-on-one coaching. You're watching all these videos. You're interpreting it your way. A lot of times you're just not getting the full meaning. And I want to help you sort all of that out. Thank you so much for all the likes over on TikTok. Thank you so much for the follows. TikTok, Facebook and Facebook, Instagram, which is the same company, and YouTube, they really got to get on, and which I'm sure they will, doing what, TikTok has a lot of things that they do that really, like I said, I've been on here for an hour a day for about, 6 or 7 weeks now. And there's a reason why that when TikTok does a lot of great things, introducing me to men who are like you, who fit my demographic. And then when you watch and you like and you share and you follow, they really go out and get more men who are just like you to at least flash me in front of your feed, and then I've got a few seconds to make you realize how I can help you and why you want to at least follow to get more information. Thank you so much for the gifts, Bill. I really appreciate that. Hey, so I'm still going to be here for a few minutes, right? But tell me, what have you found most valuable about the time that we have spent together here today? What have you found most valuable? Maybe just hanging out and talking more about fitness. I want to know. Northern Lights, thank you so much for being here. Again, thank you so much for the comments. What have you found, whether you've been here for 10 minutes or the entire hour I've been here, right? What have you found most valuable about the time that we spent together? All right. I always want to be available to your questions. I think what I'm going to do is every single day, I'm going to have a different topic. Bosman said, "You're so inspiring, mate. Thanks." Well, I appreciate that. I'm just being me. Obviously, I've been doing this for a long time. And sometimes I think, man, you're talking about this like you just started talking about it, right? But what is it that you find so inspiring? I just want feedback because I don't want to not understand your perspective and just maybe do it, but it's hit or miss whether you do it or not. If that's what you need more of, I will, I will knowingly and intentionally do more of those things. Yeah, this is great. I'm watching from Sacramento. Most valuable, seeing a 60-year-old get it done. Well, thank you so much. So no can do, I think we've talked. I think I'm from Sacramento, right? Have you always lived in Sacramento? I think you said, you said you were out here. Oh, no. So I used to work for that Raley's chain many, many years ago, Raley's grocery store chain. I don't know if Roseville. Okay. Yeah. When I was 19 years old, my first, I worked at it's not there anymore, I don't think, but the Raley store it was 108.5 Harding Boulevard, Harding Drive, Harding Boulevard there in Roseville, right next to the railroad tracks. And so I would have to work sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning. And, we had to bail all these boxes, all that boxes that had. And it was right next to the railroad track. So there'd always be bums that would be sleeping behind the baler, and so I'd be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, always get surprised by a bum from the railroad tracks. But, how long have you lived in Roseville? So I went to Jesuit High School there in Carmichael. Another thing too. This is something is that Sizzler still there, right off Harding or whatever? There's not too many Sizzlers around. Man, I see a lot of lunches over at the Sizzler in Roseville. It's a topic now because my kid plays travel ball. There aren't too many Sizzlers around, but we got to eat one next to Manteca or whatever. So all our family talks about the next time we can find a Sizzler. You think there's one on Watt, off of Watt? Yeah. No. That's in Sacramento, Watt Avenue in Sacramento. Yeah, I actually, the subject comes up a lot. I don't know why, but so actually there's a basketball tournament on July 8th in Rockland. And so we were kind of checking out there. There's one somewhere off Manzanita, Madison or something like that. That one wasn't there back in the day. Best protein on the market right now, in your opinion? Is that a protein powder, a protein shake, or talk about in the food? Right? Powder, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could throw it out, but I wouldn't have any reference, what's in the protein bottle, so. I can say on nutrition, isn't that like I know on bodybuilding.com, and if you visit their warehouses, I mean that on nutrition like is like the #1 seller. I mean they had pallets and pallets of that everywhere because that sold so well. That was like far and away the best selling supplement, best selling protein. Now I don't know if it still is that way, and I don't know if it was because it's so good or great marketing or whatever. Yeah, Harding and Douglas, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think that is that Sizzler there still on Douglas? Because if it is, well, I can look this up. But as we go out to Rockland, we can stop at that Sizzler there. Is that true? In the old days, they split D-ball and protein powders. So much BS marketing about whey versus plant, etc. Oh, is why I asked. Didn't know if you had any insight. Well, I have the same insight like you. I can tell you this, that protein, especially when you're older and you're just trying to build muscle and lose body fat, right? There's way too much emphasis on protein, in my opinion. Now you're talking to a guy that would eat 400, 500 grams a day when I had the highest quality whey protein, right? Had it available to me. So I just think you can get your protein from your food, right? It may be easier to get it from protein powder because you're eating fewer calories, right? But yeah, you can get all the protein you need from your food. But again, you got to understand, and this is true about when it comes to workout information and everything, that that we're not talking about the basics anymore, the things that matter most, right? You got to fill up your content with interesting stuff. And so when they're making a debate about, plant protein, whey protein, casein, they don't really talk about it. Before, casein protein was really specific. Before you went to bed, they would have a milk and egg protein. There was even different protein powders that they would debate about, right? I don't think they do that too much anymore, right? But it's just going down the rabbit hole. Oh, that's just a permanently closed. Yeah, they all have, most of them. And someone's talking about my era was the best year, I guess, when I was a competitive bodybuilder in the middle to the late 90s, back in those days, the magazine days. But man, that used to be a staple. If you were a bodybuilder, you ate at the Sizzler. That was just the thing. Man, I remember bringing back memories, when I started training 35 years ago, and just totally fell in love with it. When I did it, it was like, actually, when I worked for that Rayleigh's company, I helped open up stores in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I was just new to the area. I moved out of Sacramento for the very first time, right? So it was all new to me. So when I started, weight training as like 28 years old, I mean, it's just the greatest thing in the world. I mean, I remember just loving to race to the gym after work every day, and then training at the gym and Saturdays, right? It was just the greatest thing in the world, man. Get there at 10, sleep in or whatever. Get there at 10 o'clock and stay there until it closed at 2 Saturdays, and then I'd go to with my gym buddies, Manuel, and this one guy, I don't remember, but he was an older guy, really eccentric with the do-rags back when he worked, back when you worked out in those mid 90s and early 90s, early 90s, and just all into, you wore those clown colorful pants and the fanny pack, and Manuel used to work at the GNC, and we'd go to the GNC and read all the muscle magazines, because it wasn't like the internet where you could just flip through and see all these visual images and get all the information, man. You have to wait for the magazines, but man, I just it was everything in the world working out back then. Yeah, see the passion in your eyes. Yeah, I had to move on from that I had to grow up, I guess. And like right now, this is what I'm all about now these days. Yeah, you know, all about my family these days. Everything I think about and do, even doing this show, at 4 a.m. Right. This is all because I get this done before my kids even wake up. Oh, so yeah, what gym did I train out in Roseville, Sacramento? Well, never ever lived in Roseville, but so I lived in Carmichael. But I didn't work out. See, that's the thing. I didn't work out until I moved away. I didn't start working out until I was 28. Now I did join a couple of gyms. I can't remember it, but I was just a regular guy who I joined the gym a couple times, and I was quit within the first 3 months, like a lot of guys do. That was me. I was one of those guys. Probably did that at least twice. And back in those days, I mean, you got to, back in those days, you had to pay a lot of money. You couldn't just $20 to get in right there. So I did that a couple times. As a matter of fact, here's a funny story about my Marconi and Garfield. What? Okay, used to live on Marconi and Garfield. The first house that I bought was on Tammy Way in Carmichael. Now again, going back, right? So Tammy Way, T-A-M-I. I don't know. Do you know what that is? Right? But when I was 21 years old, and that was off Manzanita. What do I want to say? Walnut or something. That was like, yeah, it's kind of in that area. It was near Del Campo High School. Yeah, they are. But yeah, but it's funny because really my bodybuilding career kind of started off. So this isn't very nice, but it's been a long time, and I hope she isn't listening, right? But I had this really nice girlfriend back when I was like 25 or so, but it wasn't going to work out. But she was really nice, and I didn't want to break up with her. But I wanted to break up with her, but I didn't want to, So I remember I took a lateral transfer. So from low cost of living, I in Woodland, right, and Woodland, California, low cost living, and I took a lateral transfer with no promotion money to the San Francisco Bay Area, where it was massively expensive. So I took a massive pay cut, right? But my plan was that I was going to help open those stores in the San Francisco Bay Area, and then I was going to get promoted to manager. That's what eventually happened. Maybe not as fast as I wanted to, but that's what eventually happened. And so I just remember I really pretty much transferred because, oh, well, I'm moving away, and such a wimpy way to try to break up, you know what I mean? And anyway, she was really into working out, but again, I knew nothing about it. I remember when I lived in Carmichael, there was like this 19-year-old kid, his name was Rocky, and he was really into bodybuilding. But so I just remember thinking it was really weird, this 19-year-old, he does bodybuilding. Rocky does bodybuilding competitions. I go, oh, okay, whatever that is. I wasn't really, too impressed by all that, right? But anyway, I remember she knew that I wasn't that interested. So she would say, I train, and I guess she trained in a Gold's Gym or something like that, right? And she would say, global, I don't even know who these guys all are, right? But they I've been in that. I think I've been in that YMCA in Oakland in the last, I don't know, maybe 15 years or so, right? But anyway, she would say, you know, and I don't know if this is, I knew nothing about bodybuilding at the time. As a matter of fact, I remember she had this Flex magazine, and it was on our coffee table and said, and I would look at the magazine, muscle, I was like 25, and I would look at the muscle magazine, I would say, I would go, who would want to look like one of these oily guys? Why do you even have a stupid muscle magazine? Who would want to look? It was the most, who wants to be one of these greasy, veiny guys, right? All right, Bosman, have a great night's sleep. Thank you for being here, right? But I would say, who would want to look like, you know, one of these muscle guys? But I remember she used to say, and again, I don't know, maybe it was a famous bodybuilder or whatever, you know, Joe, whoever, you know, talked to me at the gym. And I didn't even know who this guy was. I could care less. I didn't even know that being a bodybuilder was a big deal. I didn't know that Gold's Gym was a big deal. I just knew there was some veiled attempt to give me just, but I didn't even care enough. I didn't care enough about bodybuilding. I didn't think bodybuilders were some superhumans, knew nothing about it, and I certainly didn't care. Right. But anyway, you know, the thing is, when I moved away, and then now I'm in this town and I don't know anybody, that's just because I was bored, and this guy wanted me to really join his gym. And I said, no, you know, I'm not going to join a gym. I did that a couple times and quit. And besides, I had half a weight set, a Montgomery Ward's weight set. So he said, no, you need this weight. And he would pick apart my body and say, you know, this doesn't match this. And I'm just like, oh, and who looks at bodies like that? But anyway, just out of boredom, I started working out. And it was the greatest thing in the world. It was the greatest thing in the world for anything. I'm here 35 years later because of that decision. But probably the best thing about it was that I went with him to the gym every single day. So I didn't have to learn about what you guys are so confused about. Sets, reps, high reps, push, pull, you know. I just did the same routine, didn't even know what it was. I mean, because I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to figure it out. I didn't have to memorize it. I just went with him 5 days a week, and he would do the set and I would do a set. So it really freed my mind up to not be confused, just take that leap of faith, and then, you know, get into all the fun parts of it. And again, I think that's why I'm here 35 years later. And I really think that's what I want to help you guys do, is less confusion, frustration, and overwhelm, so you can just get to work and get it done. I started lifting 25 in YMCA Dungeon in Oakland. I'm so out of shape and ugly, I'd probably scare the flies off track. Just stay here. You know, make sure you follow, guys. We'll get it a little at a time. Good morning, Joe. Great to have you here, sir. All right. Rockland, Roseville, one of the last affordable spots in California. Yeah. So again, I'll be out there in Rockland. Basketball tournament, last basketball tournament, summer basketball tournament of the year for my son and my daughter. I think that July 8th weekend, so not too far away. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this Workouts for Older Men. Let's take on the day with a sense of urgency. We have to when we're a little bit older. Again, if you're serious about this, you want to reach out to me. There's my number. Fill out that questionnaire. Send me a picture. Be more than happy to talk to you. All right, let's take on the day with a sense of urgency. We have to when we're a little bit older. We've got more time behind us than we do in front of us. You too have a great one too, old man thoughts. All right, guys, take care.